Kelvin Hepner with RealAgriculture. We're at the Canadian Beef Industry Conference and pleased to be joined now by Don Close, animal protein analyst with Rabobank, one of the keynote speakers here. And Don, talking about cattle cycles, when we look at the American cattle market right now, where are we at in that cycle, that expansion that we've been talking about for a
We
while?
think we're still expanding, not nearly as fast as we have for the past 2 to 3 years, but we're looking for very metered growth, certainly for the remainder of this year, probably for 2018, and it's not until we get into 2019, 2020 before we see this cycle high on this go-round.
So what are some of the factors that contribute to that happening?
The real benchmark of, well, low feed grain prices, and that's been the driver not only with beef, but all the competitive proteins as well. But the second driver is the growth that we have already seen and what we see as growth potential in exports, and certainly exports of high quality beef. And with that, I would incorporate product from North America collectively. So, that's really the driver. Where we see the U.S. going as a result of all of this is on a per capita consumption basis, we're looking at a mature industry. We can't grow cattle numbers or livestock numbers appreciatively with total dependence on domestic consumption. So we see the U.S. Finally becoming a net exporter of beef, and think that that by itself will have ramifications in markets globally.
So that, reading between the lines, China will be part of that?
China is a huge target, but China is not the only target. As you know, and the volume that Canada has been involved, but we've had a phenomenal year with Japan. We've had, the U.S. has had an exceptional year with Korea. And so it's that whole Southeast Asia complex with China that we see the real growth opportunity. We also see, the ramifications of particularly the discriminating taste of a lot of those consumers in that portion of the world. We see the demand for high quality beef really getting a shot in the arm. And as a result of that, I think the price spread between quality or ultra high quality beef and what we would refer to in the international market as grinding beef or manufacturing beef, we think that price spread between those two markets could widen quite significantly.
Okay. And what are the implications of that then for producers?
Well, it puts North America in a really good spot because, in every kind of, when I'm in Australia, they talk about the quality product. When I'm in New Zealand, they talk about the green aspects and the natural, and everybody, and I've never met a producer yet who didn't sell me on the quality of his product. But on what we're referencing is highly marbled, really high quality eating product. I think North America is the store.
Okay. What about Australia, Brazil, some of the other major producers around the world?
Australia is really in an interesting position. They have had substantial growth over the last 18 months to 2 years, but conditions kind of by area, but are starting to get dry again. There's really a lot of concern if they do not get rain really soon before they head into their summer. They could really have some complications as the year goes by. A lot of problems with beef in storage in Australia. So the combination of existing inventories, the threat of ratcheting slaughter back up, Australia is kind of on the bubble this year. That will be an interesting one to watch. Brazil, there are just so many complications, and we've got the current situation because of the increased meat inspections in the U.S. After we opened to fresh and frozen product from Brazil, we now cut it back off. Those negotiations will take a while to work through. There's some salmonella issues with broilers going to Europe. just a lot, and then the government issues, just a lot of stuff to work through in Brazil.
Okay. The whole scandal too that they've had.
Yes.
So bringing it back to the U.S. then, and accessing those Asian markets, we've seen the announcement of access to China a couple months ago. What about the uncertainty surrounding the administration, the political side of things, withdrawing from TPP and things like that happening?
Well, we had the opening comments to NAFTA yesterday, and everybody stating their positions. It's certainly a big we don't know, but we're also taking the optimistic view that we'll get worked through some of these trade agreements. If you take the 5 leading export countries that the U.S. goes to, the possibilities with NAFTA with Mexico and Canada, the recent TRQ tariff quota in Japan and the increase there, the administration's comment that they'd like to open up or look at the Chorus agreement, and then the China-North Korea situation. So all of the U.S. large export customers, it seems like we've got some kind of rift with currently. So we're going to have a lot of uncertainty in the market till these issues start to become resolved.
Okay. Finally then, Don, going back to your comment at the beginning about how you think we're still in the expansion phase of the cycle. When we get over that peak, where does it head from there?
With our modeling work, I think that's the most exciting part of what we're seeing in our work, because it's not that we will see cow numbers specifically, but total inventory numbers build significantly from where we're at. We think we'll just be in a real slow growth for, like I said, the next couple of years, excluding the return of substantial drought. And I know that we have, in Montana and the Dakotas, we have an area this year, but overall, pasture and range conditions, weather conditions throughout the U.S. this year have just been near ideal. So excluding drought, when we peak this cycle out, we don't think that we'll see a really steep decline in cattle inventory numbers or really hard cow liquidation as we've had in years past. We think it will be a more metered. We're looking for the 25% percentile of probabilities to the 75% percentile of probabilities. We'll still hold a U.S. cow inventory on top of 30 million. So that's really not a steep liquidation. So I think it's going to be a pretty mild setback once it comes.
All right. Thanks for your time and your insight.
You're
Don.
welcome. You bet.